animation. First of all, I select my character and go to the animation folder. Right-click, create, and let's create an animator controller. I rename it to my animation. All right, let's open it. Right now, we don't have any animations inside, but we have a bunch of animations inside the pack, like attack, die, and so on. Animation always begins with idle animation. So let's drag and drop it to our animator. And I do the same with the run animation. All right, now let's go to our swordman and add a new component, animator. Find the controller slot and drag and drop our controller here. All right, so our controller right now has only one connection, and if I turn the plane mode on, we see the idle animation, but it doesn't change when the character is moving and jumping. It is still the idle animation. I know that we was playing with idle animation, so you need to return your idle animation as it was in the pack. For example, you can import the idle animation again from the pack. Delete it from here and import. But I hope you just didn't save it. Okay, so let's go back to our animator component. We need to connect idle and run animation. To do that, right-click on the idle animation and make transition to the run. Let's click on the arrow. On the right side of the screen, we have conditions. And we need to create one. First of all, we need to think, what should happen for animation to change? In this case, speed changes, of course. When my character is standing still, the idle animation should play. But when it starts his movement to the right or to the left side, the run animation should start. Here in Animator, we have parameters. Let's create one. Click on plus. I select float type. Rename it to speed. And let's add the condition. Click on plus, select our speed, and if the speed is greater than 0.01. So if the condition is true, then the transition happens. And of course, we need to do reverse. Right-click on run, make transition from run to idle. Click on the arrow, and this time speed is less than 0.01. I also prefer to go to settings here and uncheck the exit time and change the transition time to 0 in both cases, so that the character goes from idle to run animation very fast. All right, now let's go to the plane mode and see that nothing is happening. We have our idle animation playing again and again, and this blue line shows us that yes, we have this kind of animation. All right, so of course nothing is happening because it shouldn't, but we can go to the animator. Let's go back to the plane mode, go back to animator and change the speed to 2. And then you see that the animation has changed. So that means that our logic works. So the animator works just fine. Now we need to come back to our script and do something. First of all, let's declare a new variable. Let's do it here. Let it be private. The type is Animator. And let's call it Animator. All right. Now let's go inside the start function and take the Animator from my object. Get component Animator. Get component is the primary way of accessing other components. So when the game starts, my variable Animator takes the Animator component. Next, let's go to the update function. And of course, there are so many different ways to code it. I just show you the easy and obvious one. Alright, so holds right or left buttons, idle animation should change to the run animation, and vice versa. If he doesn't press the buttons, that means my character stops and run animation switches to idle. And here I have age variable which tracks such actions. Alright, let's go ahead and write the first part. If age does not equal to 0, so exclamation and equal together means is not equal, so age is not equal to 0. That in my case means user presses button which controls horizontal axis. And if it is so, let's send a float value to the animator. We have called it speed, as you remember, and I need to give it any value bigger than 0.01 because it is my condition, remember? Okay, so animator, set float, speed 1. The speed is the name of our parameter here, the speed, and I should give it any number higher than our condition here. I decide to give it 1. And if age equals to 0, I send another value to my animator. Animator, set float, speed 0. Yeah, and this is the red line here, means we did a mistake. Inside the if, we can't use just equals. We need to type 2 equals. We use 2 equals because we want to compare, not assign. And the equals, just, this equal sign, is the assignment sign. In this case, we need 2 equals. All right, let's save it. Go back to my project. Let's run it. All right, good. Idle, and then the run animation. And I want to show you that if I haven't unchecked this box here, then we have this moment when our player still has the idle animation while he needs the movement, the run animation. So that's why I told you to uncheck this box. So it works good. My hero walks from left to right and stays. And moreover, his animation changes just as it should.